You know, it's funny. Sometimes the biggest, most profound pieces of wisdom are hiding in the simplest moments. Today, we're going to unpack an incredible piece of life advice that's been tucked away inside a short, 700-year-old Korean poem about a rainy night. And believe it or not, it all comes down to what a simple boat can teach us about progress. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so I want you to picture this. You're in a quiet little hut deep in the mountains. It's nighttime, and the only sound is the steady beat of rain on your roof. That's the scene. That's the whole vibe of this poem, Sanjung-u, which means rain in the mountains. It was written way back in the 14th century by a poet named Seol Son. It's all about that quiet, peaceful feeling.
So this is it. This is the poem in its original form, written in what's known as hanja. These are the Chinese characters that were traditionally used in Korean writing. Now, I know at first glance it might look like a beautiful, intricate puzzle. And you know what? In a way, it is. And we're about to solve it, together.
So how do we crack this code? Well, first we need the keys. To really get what the poem is saying, we're going to look at 5 key Hanja characters. We'll learn how to say them in Korean and what they mean. Think of these as our secret decoder ring for unlocking the poem's wisdom. First up is this character. In Korean, we say san, and it means, you guessed it, mountain. This one little symbol instantly paints a picture of where we are, somewhere remote, somewhere natural.
Next, we have this one, pronounced yu. It means rain. This is the main event, right? It's the whole atmosphere of the poem. And when you put san and yu together, you get the title Sanjung-u, rain in the mountains. See? We're already reading it. And here we have pung, which means wind. Because, of course, the poet doesn't just give us rain, he adds another layer, another force of nature that's part of this quiet night. Okay, now this character is su, and it means water. Now pay attention to this one, because it is absolutely essential. It's the key to understanding the poem's biggest secret, the change that's happening that we can't even see. And finally, our last key character, san. This means boat. And this simple object, this fishing boat, is actually the hero of our story. It's what reveals the poem's hidden truth. All right, we've got our keys. Now for the fun part. Let's start putting them together and see how these characters build the lines of the poem and paint this incredible picture for us. Let's start with the very first line. In Korean, it's read, il-ya san-jung-u. Hey, we already know some of these, right? We see sun for mountain, and u for rain in there. So let's just break it down. Il is one, ya is night, san is mountain, jung means in or in the middle of, and u is rain. Put it all together and it just beautifully says, one night in the mountains it rained. Simple, elegant, just an observation. Now for the second line, which adds a little sound, a little texture. This is pronounced pung chui ok sang mio. You can almost hear it when you say it. And this just paints the picture so perfectly. Pung is wind, chui is the verb for blue, ok is roof, sung means on top of, and mile is thatch. So, the wind blew on the thatched roof. The poet is just telling us what's happening, setting this really calm, observant tone. Okay, we've set the scene. A rainy, windy night in a mountain hut. But now we get to the heart of the poem. These last 2 lines are where the magic happens. This is the mystery, the aha moment where everything clicks into place. The third line kicks things off with this powerful statement, buljigu sujang. And that first part, bulji, is huge. It means I did not know, or not knowing. The poet is straight up telling us there's something he couldn't see, something he missed. And then bam, it's followed immediately by the final line, the big reveal, jigak josengo. That beginning, jigak, means I only realized. It's the complete opposite of the line before. So, what did he not know, and what did he suddenly realize? And here it is. This is where it all comes together. The poet says, I didn't know the creek water Shige-su had risen, right? He couldn't see the creek in the dark. But he says, I only noticed the fishing boat, Josen, is higher. Think about that. He didn't see the cause, the water rising, but he saw the effect. The boat, floating higher than before, revealed the invisible change that had been happening all night. So what's the big deal? It's just a boat, right? Well, not really. This is the poet having this incredible insight. He's realizing that major, significant change happens quietly, all around us,
even when we're not looking. The world is always in this state of constant harmonious motion, and sometimes the only way we know it's happening is by noticing the little clues it leaves behind.
I mean, this is so much more than just a pretty poem about nature. This 700-year-old idea is, I think, incredibly relevant for all of us today. So let's talk about what this really means for our lives.
This quote really nails it. The whole idea is to look for the fishing boats in our own lives. The indirect signs that tell us progress is happening. We're not always going to see the water rising, but we can see its effects if we just remember to look. Seriously, think about it. Learning a new language, getting better at your job, working on a big project, even just growing as a person. So much of that progress feels invisible day to day. You put in the hours, you do the work, and it can feel like you're stuck, like nothing's changing. And then, one day, you nail that presentation or you handle a tough situation with ease. That is your fishing boat rising. That's the proof that the water's been rising all along, even when you couldn't see it.
So I'll leave you with that question from a poet who lived 700 years ago. What's your fishing boat? What quiet, rising tide of progress in your own life might you be missing just because you're not looking for it? What subtle changes are out there just waiting for you to notice?